and trade them. Oh my God. Hello. Anybody there? Yeah. Good to see you. I know I can't see you. Can you see me? That's all we're thinking about. Can you hear me? That's all we're worried about. Hey, Mark. Hello, Dallas, Velmore. Oh, Travis. Hey, you're all here. Boy, look at all the talking. I didn't see all that extra talking going on. Hello, folks. I'm John Zidar, aka the Stock Wizard. Maybe you've seen me here and there. I'm at Penny Boys Discord every day between 9:30 and 4 o'clock, beyond those hours. But I'm there every day at those hours for absolutely sure, because I'm trading with the public, which is what I just ended doing. Every day I trade with anybody who shows up. There's a link down there on YouTube. There's nothing there on Twitter, but there's one on YouTube. It is an address to the Discord group. You can come in there anytime you want, 24/7, anytime you want. But if you come there between 9:30 and 4, we're going to be trading momentum plays, scalp trades, which is primarily what I like to do. Get in, get out of a stock. At my age, long holds aren't my big thing anymore. So I like to trade fast. But we trade all sorts of trades over there. We've got lots of different pages. My page is just for the hot scalps. And all week, I like to share hot penny stocks with you because that's my passion. Stocks under $5. But this show is about the stocks you want to talk about. You get to share hot penny stocks with me and everybody else that watches the show. Oh, something just sold. A put. I'm not sure what that was. I'll check that later. Market's still swinging here. Okay, folks. We are going to be looking at some hot penny stocks. I hope that's what we're looking at. That's what I asked for. Stocks under $5 that you requested. I'm going to go through the DD. This is going to be general, over the top, casual due diligence, quick due diligence, if you will. We're not doing a deep dive, but we will look at the share structure, the fundamentals, try to keep up on the news and the disclosures, see if we can find a catalyst, why the things are moving, if they're moving. Hopefully you gave me stocks that are moving, and then we'll look at the charts and see if they're moving. All right, let's jump on into this. I've got them coming in from my number 1 and number 2 fan at our first and second stock. That'd be Velmore and Kishera. I saw that. Man, that is so cool. Thank you so much, folks. So let me make sure that you can see what I can see. Looking good so far. Crazy, I know. Much better. Okay, as I normally do, this is for me and you. I like to take notes. I look at so many stocks, it does get a little jumbled in my head. I'm getting older, things get jumbled in my head. And sometimes I just plain forget to share something with you. So at least here, if I give you the notes and me the notes, we each at least had a hint of what was going on. So this is an interesting company that Velmore wants to take a look at. And I do believe a while ago, probably a few years ago, I looked at this company. This is PBM. Let's call this Science Biomedical. I'm going to believe that to be a silent P, Science Biomedical. This is a psilocybin-based psychedelic medicine company. In other words, they manufacture LSD and sell it. That's pretty much the gist of it. We'll get down to it here in a minute. Strong daily volume today. Super duper low float, less than 1 million. No revenues. What? There's no market for LSD. It's not exactly an open market yet. You know, they got a little more going for them than cannabis does, believe it or not. When it comes to the legality aspects, this has more going for it than cannabis. But cannabis is out there being sold, making money, billions of dollars. They haven't done that yet with this. And they've got no filings to look at. So we are looking at a company that is based out of Canada, not the United States. This is based out of Canada. Finished today at $5.29, up 42% today, up $1.57. So you would figure there's got to be a catalyst somewhere to get it to jump that far. This is a hot penny stock in the major exchange. She's on the NASDAQ, which comes with benefits compared to the penny stock on the OTC. First off, there's no transaction fees when you trade on the major exchange. There are on the OTC in most cases. You can trade these pre-market, aftermarket. Some of the biggest runs you're ever going to see happen pre-market, aftermarket. Most likely because there's no volatility halts. All the umpires go home. So when a stock starts to run or fall, it just keeps going until it stops. You can't do that with the OTC. You also get a lot more money, a lot more volume, and a lot more rules up on the major exchange. And all of those are good for the investors. Now, the rules ain't for us, they're for the companies, but it keeps them honest. And an honest company makes for a better investment, don't you think? I've lost a lot of money on pinks because if pinks, you're trusting the management, not the paperwork. You don't get paperwork with pinks. We get all the paperwork we want with major exchange penny stocks. That's why I like them. So let's take a look at PBM. Let's start over here and just work over volume today. Off the charts. Goodness gracious. We were doing 1/5 of a million shares. We were doing 200,000 shares a day over the last 30 days as an average. Today, we're up at 25 million. Again, I say, there's got to be a catalyst, right? Share structure. Oh my God. Holy cow, folks. Let's see the date. Okay, that's May 2025. So it could be a little bit different. I haven't done a deep dive here, but we've got a super duper low float. And when I say super duper, I mean less than a million shares. Now, as of May, they had just about 600,000 shares, which is not meeting the criteria on the major exchanges. The NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, they've got a minimum criteria for everything. Everything, your price, how many shareholders you have, how many shares you have, equity, market cap, everything. Well, this is not meeting it. You have to have at least 1.5 million in the float. Well, your float can't be any higher than the outstanding share count. So we've got less than 1.5 million, which means they either go down to the OTC because they've got too few shares. That ain't going to happen. Or they do a public offering and they just put some more shares on the market and fix that. So I would anticipate to see a piece of news, if they haven't already done it, for a public offering. Now, whether they do a small one for just 2 million and keep it a small float, or come, gangbusters, come out here with 100 million shares, I don't know. Market cap for the company is real small because they don't have any shares. We got about 2.1 million shares. All your shares times the price is your market cap. Right now, we're at 2.1 million. Financials for PBM, we got nothing coming out on the annual, nothing coming in on the quarterly. So LSD, not making a whole lot of money for them yet. I don't know if the laws have passed to get it out there yet. I know they're doing a lot of other things like ketamine and stuff like this. You've got therapy places you go where you get your drug of choice. And I know they're working with microdoses as well. So we've got no money coming in on the company. What sort of balance sheet do they got? Well, now we got to add 3 zeros to any of the numbers on the charts, except the zeros. We've got about 6.1 million in the bank. That's what we like to call cash and cash equivalents. Total assets, a little more than what they got in the bank, 7.3 million. And liabilities is down there. Less than, about 600,000, 500,000. So we're holding positive stockholder equity, which is absolutely great. We're not holding any deficit in the company. We're not getting rich or anything. But right now, if you were to take all the shares we just saw, which was, let's just call it 500,000 to keep it simple, 500,000 shares, stockholder equity at 6.7 million, take all those shares divided into that. That would give you 13 what? $13. That would give you $13 based on stockholder equity and the shares as they sit right now. Now, as soon as they put more shares on the market, that completely changes real fast. But at this moment right now, based on equity, the stock is worth $13. Let's take a look here at why the stock is running. Got to be a catalyst, right? Stock is up. We've got lots of volume. Well, let's see if there was any news today. Nope. We don't have any news since August 28th. And it really wasn't big news. That was just them saying they were going to an investment conference. They're going to stir up the pot, try to get some more investors to come into the company. Big investors, little investors. We got a corporate update here, which I'll be honest, I really didn't dive into. Clinical progress seen here. Anything about laws? No. What I was looking at particularly was this piece of news here. Science Biomed's strategic collaboration with Labs yields breakthrough in high purity ibogaine production. All right. Big news? Well, maybe not. Look, they can make LSD from a lot of different substances, at least close enough to LSD that we call it LSD, like mescaline. Mescaline comes from the peyote plant. It's a little bud that comes off a cactus. Well, it's pretty much like the LSD that comes out of mushrooms, magic mushrooms. Well, you can also get them from morning glory seeds. You can get them from those. You grind them up. Or you can get them from a plant in Africa called ibogaine. You can get it from there. Well, what they're doing here is working on getting purified chemicals from these plants, and they just got it from this African plant, ibogaine. So now they've got another LSD that they'll be able to use. And here's the big thing, folks. Marijuana may be on the market right now, making billions of dollars. I can go down to my local dispensary and I can buy an ounce, a full ounce, let's just say, for $100. Super duper cheap. That's really cheap. Marijuana is going to be nothing compared to LSD. That is going to make so much money because they're going to sell molecules for hundreds of dollars. Molecules of LSD is what you'll get, micro doses, and you'll come in 3 or 4 times a month and you'll get micro doses to elevate you and make you feel better, open your mind a little bit. You won't trip, but you will expand. You will open up. And this can help with a lot of psychological problems because most psychological problems have dam up, constipation in the brain, in the head, in the mind. And this opens up that constipation. I can't explain it, folks, but I have tripped. I understand what it can do for you. And there is a lot of good that can be done for people who have psychological problems that lock them up in life. It can open up doors for us. So that's what we're looking at with this company, if they can get on the ball. Now, there's a lot of competition in the psychedelic realm. And as a matter of fact, I can't remember the name of the company right now. There is one company out there that has patented LSD as it is naturally, and that's illegal. You can't go find something out in Mother Nature and patent it and say it's mine, mine, mine. LSD is out there in nature. It has already been created, and somebody's patented it, and it was challenged in court, and the courts allowed them to keep their patent. Compass, that's it. Compass Pathways, I think that's it. They have actually got a patent for LSD. So now every other company out there is working with anything like LSD, any of these drugs that make you hallucinate, they have to make them synthetically. They have to change one molecule and make it just a little bit different than the LSD, lysergical acid. They've got to make it just a little bit different so that they can get theirs out there patented. And that's the big fight going on right now, because whoever comes out on top first with LSD, I'm telling you, when you sell molecules for hundreds of dollars, it is going to be huge. And it's come in, we'll dose you in our office. You don't take it home and do it. All right, disclosures. Did we have anything over there? We got a 6K. 6Ks are material changes by means of subscription agreement. I have no idea. I did dive into this and started to look a subscription agreement. A subscription for what? The drug? I have no idea. Somebody's going to have to dive in and get some more info on that one. And then the other one is all the way back in August. So we really don't have any catalysts, do we? I didn't see anything, nothing since last month. No filings, no news. And yet we have strong volume and we got strong gains. What? We're up 43%. So let's go take a look at this chart now. PBM. Follow me? Yes, you are. Let me get rid of my side chart here. Bring up my full chart. Lots of charts. I love my charts. Make it beefy for you. And let's drop our ticker in there, PBM. Peanut butter and marshmallow. Loving it. Whoa, way too many lines here, huh? All right, let's get rid of all these lines. Maybe I'll remember to put them up. Maybe I won't. We know how that goes. I really do. All right. Do we need to go back to the yearly? We'll just take a quick peekaboo just to see what the yearly high was. We're at, oh, come on. There has to have been a reverse stock split. I'm only presuming because we got a price here. And you know, it may not actually be a reverse stock split. Oh, it's got to be. With that low float. It's got to be. I just don't know when they did it. They don't show it here. I didn't see it in the news, but they must have had a reverse stock split because our high now is $91.93, and they've never made a penny. Now, in saying that, they do have 5 patents. I did go looking to see if they had anything of value there because they don't have a whole heck of a lot of value on the books, right? Fundamentals. Well, they do have 5 patents, but they're leased. They're not their patents. They're leased from another company. I can't remember the name of it right now, but they're on the expert market on the OTC. So I'm not sure what value the company's got in that regard with those patents because I haven't done a deeper dive. So from 91 cents a year ago down to $2.36, which we hit August of this year. Let's come on down to our 6-month 4-hour view. So now we've got a high of $23.11 6 months ago. Came all the way down. Nice to see that once our 200 MA here caught up with the price jumped. Always like to see that. That tells me that the stock wants to climb whenever it gets opportunities, whenever a piece of news comes out, it will look for a place to run. So I'm liking to see a breakout as soon as that 200 gets close. Now she stayed on top of the 200, didn't do any running, but she didn't do any falling. That's very important. She's on top of the 200 right here, and she jumps. I don't know why, but she jumps from about 535 up to over 12 bucks. That's over 100% run. Then she came down further down than where she started. Ouch. Way down here. We're now down to 236. She came back up, but really did not recover, did she? She just kept dribbling down. And right now we are back into a swooping action. You can see all of our MAs here are all swooping up, right? Like a launch pad, like a skateboard ramp. That's exactly what you want to see. A ramp. That's what our price is riding on. And it is crossing over that 200-day MA right now with everything about ready to go over that 200. And everything needs to be over on top of it. Smallest on the top, 9-day, all the way down to your 200. So we got to get all of these up on top, and it has just started to happen. Look at the excitement as she started climbing. Bars started getting bigger, very big. Now she's on top of the 200, still on top of the 9-day. Looks like she's ready to climb to me. All of our oscillators are pushing up. RSI, MACD, ADX, percentage price oscillator. Everything looks hot. Looking at our 20-day 1 hour, you've got a trend change. Our 200 was falling right there. Swear to God, folks, right where it went flat is where she decided to jump up. That's when your breakouts happen. As soon as the 200 MA goes flat or is climbing, but normally as soon as it goes flat, that's when you have your breakouts. Now, you're not always going to see a straight run. You may see a run and a come back down. Test that 200. Make sure I can build on this. I'm going to go up. I want to make sure it's strong. It'll bounce on it and then take off. But once you get up on top of that 200, you're in the air. You're not underwater anymore. You're in the air. You can start moving. And she's starting to fly. She's pushed away. She's bouncing off the 50. All of this gain happened pre-market from $3.80 to, well, let's just call it $8. It was over 100% run at, is that going to be 4 in the morning? Bing, bing, bing. 4 in the morning. And it came right back down to the 9. Very strong landing. We like that. I know it looked like a bad landing, but look, she stayed above every single MA. That is perfect. She is now floating on that 9-day MA on the 1 hour chart and climbing. And everything else is still pushing up over top of our 200. All of our oscillators are still climbing ever so gently. Not a lot of volatility, but you don't need volatility for growth. You need volatility for fast moves, but for steady climb, oh, this is nice. This is looking beautiful. Take a look at let's just jump down to our 5-day, 15-minute. Look at that, right? Steady uphill growth, little bumps and jumps here and there, showing she's got action and life. Big jump here pre-market, back down to the 50-day, which is what she's been maintaining on on to that 50. Everything's kosher. Everything's under control. She's starting to push away. Now, I would anticipate the way she's acting, she may hang with the 50, but she could easily graduate to the 20. She could say, oh, I'm getting lighter now. I don't need the 50, and you'll start to pull away from the 50 and just lay on that 20. Everything is looking nice. All of our MAs, our oscillators, are still pushing up gently. Price is climbing. Everything looks absolutely great. Quick 1 minute to see the aftermarket period. There was our jump back down underneath the 200 on our 1 minute, broke out at the bell. We had a nice run there at the bell, and then she just meandered around all day. And at the end of the day, she started warming up. We're back on top of a rising 200 MA. Everything is looking like she wants to continue rising. If I back up just a bit to get a peek at our oscillators, we've got a crossover on our ADX. The green line represents uptrend. Red line represents downtrend. Whichever one is on top is in charge on the chart. That's what's happening. So our uptrend is getting on top of the red, which means our uptrend is taking charge on the board. And the strength of the uptrend is measured by that yellow line. Down here at the bottom is the weakest point on the floor, and up at the top is its strongest point. So when we get that yellow line coming up with the green line over the red, the uptrend is getting stronger. Things are looking strong right now. Every single one of our oscillators is crossing over and starting to climb. I'm liking PBM. Only the technicals. I don't see anything else to really get excited about, but the technicals look good. So with a super duper low float right now, and if AI comes through here, which is doing trading for somebody else, and they look at the fundamentals and figure out what I just did, wow, this stock's worth $13. You may get stupid jumps, just like we've seen at 4 in the morning, go real high because AI thinks it's worth something it isn't. And then immediately it comes back down when another AI figures out that was stupid, or we did. Ta-da! All right, we are done with PBM. Let's see. I always like to come over here and make sure that you guys aren't complaining that something isn't working. High risk of deletion. Always, always. As soon as those shares come in, they've got to add more shares to lift up that float. It's going to be dilution. And we don't know how much dilution it's going to be. We have no clue. Not a clue in the world. Let's see here. It has dropped to 99 cents. I'm curious as to what I'm missing, or is it the market being irrational? You guys, you're talking about a stock over here. Oh, I'm butting in. My bad. Here I am. Yeah, it looks like you guys were talking about Plug. Going through the comments here. Appreciate you being here, Dallas. We may get along to wrecked if I keep this show moving. I would like to mention Plug. It's about to break out. Also, Riley is heavily invested in. Good luck, everyone. Hey, thank you. Higher conscientiousness. I like that name. Yeah, I was just looking at Plug earlier today. I did see that she was waking up and catching some attention. All right, moving right along. We are at 424. Let's get on to our next ticker. We are going to be taking a look now at iCity.com. This is from Kashira. Let me get this in here. ICTY. Not that one. ICTY. ICTY. All right. This company claims to be an opportunistic real estate development company. That's what they're claiming that they're all about. They have a low daily volume today, very high float, no revenues, stockholder deficit. And the filings, there's really nothing there to look at, but I did dive into the financials, and I do want to point out something at the very bottom of the financials, which they call subsequent events. Things they couldn't squeeze into the financials at the time, but at the very end, they can just drop it there at the bottom. Not that that's that big, but it does make a difference. So I want to share that with you. So what we've got here are a lot of red ticks, right? Low daily volume, very high float, no revenue, stockholder deficit. So iCity.com. This is a company on the OTC ID. They just renamed the Pinks. I don't think Pinks exist anymore. You have Pink Limited, and you have OTCID. OTCID is supposed to be a little bit different than pinks. They're supposed to be getting a little more information from these companies than they got before, which was nil. But before, they were blank checks. That's all they were. They had no filings. They had to put in disclosures, which was just management filling in some blanks of how much money had come in and how much they spent. But we got to take their word for all of that stuff. And nothing else. That's it. Except news. Hype. Boom. Hype. That's what you get with pinks. Hype. So whenever you trade a pink or an OTCID, take anything you see in the news with a grain of salt. Don't you swallow it. Don't you digest it. I've lost tens of thousands of dollars on pinks because they exaggerate. They lie. They scam us. They pump and dump. Now, pump and dump, there's nothing wrong with if you understand what it is and know what's happening. But for most of us, you don't know and you end up getting caught. So we're going to take a look at ICTY, see what it is they do, and see if we can trust to invest in this stock, or should we just play it? So ICTY, this is a company based here in America. She's based out of Florida, finished today at a super duper low price, 0005. You can't get any lower than 0001. That's the absolute lowest on the open market. Now, it can go less than 0005 when it goes onto the expert market, and you will see stocks, no matter what their price, when they go onto the expert market, they will go under 0001. And that's because marketers and brokers are trading them and making money in ridiculous amounts. It is stupid. When it comes back onto the open market, it has to be back at 0001. When it comes on at 0001 or 0002, it normally jumps back to its original price before it went on the expert market. If it was at 2 cents, folks, you're talking like 200,000% run. Or 20,000. I'm not quite sure which it is, but it is a huge run. Well, you can buy 1 million shares at 0001. 1 million shares. Good luck getting it at 0001. You can normally get it at 0002, and you can get 500,000 for $100. You made somebody very happy who bought them at 0001 because they just made 100% off of you. So these are the sort of stocks that they like to call HODLs, HODL. You buy super cheap. You get a whole bunch, and then you just wait. And you wait for that day to come when your millions of shares run. And it just doesn't always work out like that. There's reverse stock splits. There's bankruptcies. There's old age. There's all sorts of things that happen before that stock runs. So I normally won't look at a stock until it reaches 0005. And it's still going to be a little slow moving. You don't get big runners here. There's no running on 000s. You normally have to get to the 00s before it starts to move quick. Also, there's no middle ground. 0005 goes to 0006, not 0051, 0052. If you see 0055, you can't buy it. Not allowed. Don't even try. It'll tell you have to go to the next solid integer above or below. Well, where did that half a nickel or half a price come from? Brokers and marketers, they're still playing the game. The OTC brokers are allowed to trade. They're allowed to be down there to keep the market moving. They're called market makers. And it's a big junk down there because the OTC is not watched over. It's like blockchain. It's decentralized. It has no oversight. Nobody's in charge of it. There are probably 200 to 2,000 brokers. I don't know. There's lots and lots and lots of brokers. And these brokers put companies like this on the market and say, well, let's start your price off at this. And that's how they get on the market. And then other brokers piggyback off of them. And when things go bad, people don't monitor what's going on with these little tiny companies because nobody's watching them. So you watch your money. Get in, get out. Don't hang around with the OTCID very long. So let's see here. ICTY, what was the relative volume today? Come on. Down 1/3, basically, dropping from 31 million. I know that sounds like a lot of shares, but what did we just say? You can buy 250,000 for $100 right here at 5, So yeah, you've got maybe 30 trades today, 50 trades, something like that. Today we're down to 10 million. Again, it sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. But also keep in mind, I do want you to notice we are on the OTC market, which is struggling and starving for volume. They've got over 12,000 stocks down here, and they're not all penny stocks. You have stocks at hundreds of dollars, $500, $10,000, $20,000 a share. Yes, on the OTC. You got companies like Budweiser, L'Oreal, EasyJet, Nintendo, Nike, all of them are on the OTC because they're foreign companies. They can't get on a major exchange without corporate offices in America. So you've got lots of companies down here. Well, out of all those companies, only $2.5 billion worth of stock was moved. That's it. Oh my God. Which, let's brag. We're at 5.2 billion shares for all the companies to divide up amongst themselves. And lots of them got nothing. Why am I making fun of that number? Before COVID, every day we were getting 60 to 70 billion shares a day. A day. Since COVID, we're lucky if we hit 5 billion. So this was a good day. Woohoo. All right, so we're at 10.3 million. Share structure for this company is ridiculous. Oh my God, 7.2 billion shares. And they've got 10 billion that they could put on the market. So right now they've got 3/4 of all their shares on the market. And they've probably got absolutely nothing to show for it. The insiders, what do they own? Well, they own about 1 billion. Thank God for that. They own about 1 billion of them, 910 million. We get all the rest, 6.3 billion shares. Now, warning, folks, when this stock starts to move and gets towards 001, it'll start to move quicker. But when it starts to get towards a penny, you better be ready and looking for a reverse stock split. Because when it gets up to a penny, it's getting on the radar. And when you get on the radar, people can see you. Well, people want to be seen as something of value, and you don't look valuable at a penny. So as soon as they start to get close to a penny, they want to get to a dime or a dollar or wherever, and they'll do a reverse stock split, and they've got plenty of shares to do that. So when this starts moving close to a penny, moving 3 or 4 days at 004, 004, 005, watch out. Watch out. You're looking at a guy who's gone through 93 reverse stock splits. I see them coming a mile away now. So I'm just warning you, be careful with this bad boy. Market cap for this company, we're at $3.6 million. Financials, nothing on the annual, nothing on the quarterly, nothing in the bank. We've got $848,000 and something. I don't know, it could be office equipment. Could be a car. I don't know, a wagon. But we've got more liabilities, 1.2 million. So in this fabulous company, we are holding, about $500,000 in losses. Now, let's see. What is this company all about? Well, they said they were invested into real estate. How so? Well, looking at the news here, we've got 2 pieces of news that came out this year. Both of them this month. The last piece of news before that was 3 years ago, 2022. And the piece of news before that was 2021 when they were involved in a lawsuit and there was an injunction. Now, I want you to remember that because I said I want to show you something at the bottom of their financials, and it got to do with something that happened all the way back in 2021. What? Yeah. So what do we got going on here? Well, back in 2022, they were forming a joint venture with social media and the entertainment sector. They ain't doing that anymore. So now we come up to 2025. The company announced a strategic focus on smart city and infrastructure technology, tapping into multi-trillion-dollar global market. Now, everybody's talking about smart cities. There's lots of companies actually doing it, actually got products that they're working with. This company just announced it. What have they got? I haven't seen anything. Well, that's because we haven't looked at their website, right? So let's go over to their website. Latest news and updates, filings, completes all required OTC filings, advances towards non-shell status, shell status. That means that they aren't making any money. But if I remember correctly, shell risk. So the company's got the 2 green ticks we can look for when you're looking at OTC ID. It's the only validated information you really get normally. And that comes from the OTC markets. They're an unbiased third party, so you can trust those green ticks. Shell risk means that they are in business, but not making any money. Or it means they just did a deal, sometime here recently and got some assets. And those assets were constituted as revenues, and that now means they're in business. Well, we didn't see any of that. I don't see a deal. I don't see assets. I don't see any of that. So what the heck is going on? Well, let's jump back into that news. What do they tell us they're involved with here? Do we have any companies that they're working with? The company is specializing in innovative urban solutions. Today, they announced their strategic focus. We're going to be looking at developing and implementing smart city and intelligent road technologies. And this is why I say it's hype. You will see lots and lots of companies getting sued. And they say, you said you were going to do this. You said you were doing that. Well, they always write these particularly perfectly so that you can't get them on the details. We are considering, we are looking at, we are focusing on. They ain't said they done squat diddly yet. An MOU, memorandum of understanding. They sat at Starbucks drinking coffee with somebody talking. That's an MOU, memorandum of understanding. No big deal. But we like to make it more in our heads than it really is. So they give us some highlights here of things that they want to work with: street and road traffic control, green tech, energy grids, all sorts of grand ideas. It sounds good, but I don't see any products. I don't see any companies. I don't see any patents. I just don't see anything yet. They've got a great plan. Now, if they're serious, then they're going to take some of this no-show money that they got, and they're going to go make a deal and get somebody in who's got patents, who's got an idea, turn into a holdings company, start working with companies that have got products that you can get on the market. Because I don't see anything that they're actually doing except throwing seed out there for us to get excited about, thinking there's big oak trees. It's just seed. We don't even know they're oak tree seeds. So I really don't see anything popping here, but we're going to watch it. You know, if volume comes in, that's all it really takes. It doesn't matter what's going on with the company. If volume comes in and the stock starts running, doesn't matter if the CEO got busted for hit and run. It doesn't. If the stock is climbing, can you make money on it? Of course you can. If you get in at the right time and get out at the right time, regardless of the news. Which is why I really don't look at the news when I'm scalping, because I may read bad news and think that stock's going to fall. And because I have that in my head, I don't go near it. And it's climbing. And I say, well, it's probably going to fall any moment. Climbing. Right? So I just don't read the news unless I'm swing trading or long playing. Then I need to know everything I can get about these stocks. We got no filing since 2009, and we've got our last quarterly report on August 12th. Now, I said I wanted to jump into this. Now, I'm not going to go through any of this, actually, and I really didn't go through any of it myself. All I did was come all the way down to the bottom, which is a habit of mine. I come all the way down to the bottom, and I go to subsequent events right there at the very, very bottom. And you can find some juicy tidbits down here. You can find deals, acquisitions, reverse stock splits. I mean, it's not always good juice, but you can find juice down here. This is what they say. The company continues to work on removing further disputed liability and equity issuances, and is in the process of canceling multiple prior transactions. Whew. There's a lot of stock out there that they've got to chase down, that they've got to get, that they've got to cancel. There's deals that are still lingering in the works. You can't move forward until you get all that crap cleaned up. And we don't know how much crap they got. I just showed you it started back in 2021. And here it is, 2025, and it's at the bottom of their financials. We're still working on multiple transactions and deals. So it sounds a little more than iffy to me. Okay, with all that said, let's go take a look at this chart, which I presume is going to look like a picket fence. It's going to look like a barcode. Let's back up and get a real good gander here. So there you go. That's a one-year chart. She has been going sideways, as most of these do in the triple zeros. She's been hanging around, let's say 0006, right about there, down to 0001. No, 0002, actually. 0002 to 0006 is where she's been living all of this time. However, she did have a jump. This was way back in December of last year. She went from, let's call it 0004 up to 0017. So you're talking 400. Just think of that as 4 to 16. get rid of all those zeros. So you're looking at 400+% run right there. Wow. That is a rare occasion to go from triple zeros and make 100% and more. That's outstanding. 400%, and she came right back down real quick. A couple days later, she was down here on the floor at 0001, which she is rarely ever at, right? We don't really see her down here ever, but she got punished. That's the way it looks, right? You went too high. Shame on you. Boom, come all the way down here. And she was down there for 2 days. When she did come up, she just hung around the triples 2, triple 3 zone. And right now she is actually making a move that we can talk about. Here she was on top of the 200, right? On top of the 200, you get bigger bars. Look at these bars here. They're stabby little things. They're just not exciting. Here we start getting some activity. We start getting some length in our bars, some beef. Where's that beef? It's over top of the 200. Once she comes under the 200, we get these little itty bitty patties again. Come back over that 200. There's the beef. And now we are floating on the 9-day MA, which actually says we've got momentum. We've got movement in this stock, which is a rare occasion. I'll give you that. She is now tagging through. But again, full bar over top of the MA, even if it's sitting on the MA, is okay. It's when the full bar comes under it, that's when you get worried. These wicks, those wicks are telling us stories. Those wicks are giving us information. Those wicks are tricking us. There's a lot going on in those wicks, but it's the solid bar that tells you where the stock is sitting. It is sitting on top of the 9, ready to climb. The wick says, I am looking for something to drop on to balance myself. She got very close to the 20, very close to the 200. Looks to me like she is looking for something to steady. So I would think she's going to come down just a little bit, hit something, and then jump. Now, I don't normally say that about 000 stocks. I normally don't. But the chart shows heat, and I'm reading the chart. That's what I'm reading. All of our oscillators have heat in them. They've pulled back a little itty bitty bit, but there is actually heat in that chart. Come on down to our 6-month 4-hour view, which isn't going to look a whole lot different. Tighter. Now we got a barcode. Just up and down, up and down. However, I am using the Heikinashis. The Heikinashi bar looks different than maybe what you see on your chart, and I want you to see this difference because I can read more in these little jumps than you can with your regular candles. Let me get the regular candles right there. All you get, I'll squeeze this, are solid bars, right? That's a solid green bar. Boom, 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 boom. You don't see any solid bar in the middle. Shorter bars, you just see solid bars, and that's on your candles. But look at my Heikinashis. Now look here. I want you to see that close. I'm going to zoom in on that. Look at the solid bar right there. These are little. You can see the power is falling, getting less and less. Once the solid red bar got tiny, we expect it to pop. That's when we got our big green bar here. So we actually knew when it was going to go from 0003 up to, well, see, that doesn't count. That's a half. That is a freaking half a bounce right there, folks. Half a bounce. You have actually got to go all the way up to here. From here up to there. There is no profits to be made here. You've got to come all the way up. And that would be a 25% gain going from 0003 to 0004. Right now, we are at 0005, which she isn't at very often. She's holding that right now. We've had a lot more bangs here than we had back here. They're coming quick and furious. She is pushing up. Our MAs are crossing the 200. I would watch this. Looking at our 20-day 1-hour view, she's going sideways, and I'm going to expect some sideways activity unless the volume comes in. And if the volume doesn't come in, I expect her to start dribbling down. She needs the volume desperately. That is the absolute biggest thing she needs right now. She is sitting at a point where she could either climb or fall. All of our oscillators now are starting to get even. They're not hot. They're not cold. They're just kind of lukewarm. And 5-day, 5-minute isn't going to show you anything. Going a lot of sideways. What's interesting here is we do have a brand new 200 MA that just came on the board. And normally the price will go to the new MA. Now we are on that new MA right now, but the new MA, our 200, is rising. The price is on top of our 9, on top of our 50, which were falling but are turning up right now. She is showing signs right in this vicinity of everything starting to turn up. So she is worthy of putting on your watch list for tomorrow, folks. She's had a big pop before from the 000s, right? She went from 000 up to 0017, which was a 400% run. So even with 6 billion shares, it can move. But I wouldn't sit around waiting for it. I'd be looking at stocks that have got more going on for them. That's my own personal opinion. Don't take it personal, Kashara. All right, let me come on back. I need a drink. You are welcome, Paul C. Paul Castle. No, he's a singer, right? He does music. Talking about GMGI. Oh, GMGI, that's that. Oh, right, GMGI, the gambling company. Aren't they the ones that got no, that's the other company. The swipe app. Yeah, you like Tinder, you swipe right to bet, you swipe left not to bet. And I covered them like 3 years ago when they were nothing, covered them with 3 other companies and said, this is going to be big, folks. Impulse gambling. Impulse gambling. Yeah, this is going to be big, folks. And it is. It is growing like gangbusters. I got to get over there. I haven't looked at that stock in a long time. What else we got going on? I love seeing all this conversation over here. Yeah. Is there a hit button? You know what I discovered, folks? I was kicked off of YouTube. You probably know that. I was kicked off for 4 months, 5 months. I don't know. They brought on AI. And AI went through all my videos, was scanning them, and came up with dangerous stuff. I don't know what. It wouldn't tell me. But 30 of my videos got taken down. Videos about stocks. And it said that my videos were dangerous and harmful to the community. So they took me off for 4 months. Now they let me back on. But I just realized I don't get any money ever from YouTube again. They said I was bad. So they took away my cup. I used to have a shout out here where you could actually tip me during my videos if you wanted to. I get paid for views, for how many of the views, how many advertisements. Now I get zilch. Don't ever get paid again. They'll let me use their platform to share my videos with you, but that's it. God almighty, and you know, have you ever seen Google's items? They've got these robots you can buy for $29, a kitty, a koala bear. They've got little heaters that'll heat up your entire attic in your car for $19. Have you seen the remote control for your dogs? Yes, YouTube is selling this for $29, a remote control that will turn your dog's volume down so he doesn't bark. And it comes back on like that. It'll make the dog lay down. I'm not shitting you, folks. And YouTube kicked me off saying I was harmful while they're selling all their consumers bull crap products. But thank you, YouTube, for letting me use your plateau here and share my wisdom and knowledge with everybody. And I don't mind doing that, folks. Sharing with you for free doesn't bother me. Never made more than $100 on YouTube anyways in a month. Never. And I've been doing this for like 6 years. I got like 700 videos minus 30. All right, hit that like button, folks. It's all the pay I get. Ching, ching. I'm loving it. All right, we got another stock. I do believe we do. Let me make sure we got this all lined up. Next stock we are taking a look at is MTPLF. This is Metaplant. This came from Kiki. Now, this is an interesting stock. I looked at this. I mean, I actually looked at this. MT. Hold on. Just let me grab that bad boy up and drop it and plop it. I know there's a $sign there. All right, so this is Metaplant. This is on the OTC as well. Metaplant is a Bitcoin company, not Bitcoin treasury, Bitcoin company, and that's all they do. From what I can see, that is completely all they do is accumulate Bitcoin. I haven't seen a plan for it. CDLX is running, folks. You've been told by Velmore. Now, I find this a little aggravating. It's cool that all these companies now, since Trump made a lot of these crypto coins legal assets, so now they've got stock, they've got cash, and they've got crypto. So they've got all these different types of assets, and each one comes with different advantages, different leverages that they can use them for. And they were putting these into their treasuries, which is cool. You know, you put your money in a bank, what do you get? 3% for savings accounts? Whoop-dee-doo. You know, you buy a crypto that goes up 80% in a month. Well, your treasury just went up 80% in a month. Holy cow. So this is good. But you've got companies now that are just doing that. They're not adding crypto to their business. Yeah, we make vacuum cleaners that vacuum your carpet by themselves. And we're going to be putting Bitcoin into our treasury. I love that idea. No, we've got companies now that are just doing the asset retention, just getting into Bitcoin. They're not mining it. They're not producing it. They're not ATMing it. They're not selling it. They're just buying it and holding it. And that's what it looks like this company's doing. I thought a business had to provide a service, a product, provide, not just be. So I'm a little here. They doubled their daily volume today. They've got a real high float, but they've got monster stockholder equity. Oh my God, for a penny stock, it's incredible. So let's take a look at MTPLF, a company based out of Japan. This is supposed to be one of the first publicly traded Bitcoin companies in Japan, maybe Asia, I don't know. The company finished today at $3.94, down about 2.7%. She was down about 11 cents. Now, as I said, this is on the OTC, but it's on the best tier. It's in the best neighborhood. Don't judge this stock badly. Look, folks, the OTC is a wide variety. You have the ghetto and the pinks. You have the middle class on your OTC QB. And then you have the OTC QX, which is your high echelon, the pinnacle. This is where you've got your Budweiser, your L'Oreal, your EasyJet, your Nike. This is where they're all at. This is where a lot of banks are at. Lots and lots of banks who could be on the major exchange choose to be here on the QX because it's clean and safe and cheap. Really cheap. It costs like $75,000, could be more now, to be on the NASDAQ each year. And all the filings are real expensive. Every single filing. New York Stock Exchange, I think, is double that. And every filing, very expensive. Down in the OTC, cheap, 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 cheap. And if you have less than 2,000 shareholders, they give you deals. It's even cheaper. And the banks fit that category perfectly. So you got lots and lots of banks down here who do lots of bloody business. Yawn, boring, I know, but look at their charts. They're doing good business. So this company has all the green ticks we want. They are under $5, so you and I think of them as a penny stock, but they're not a penny stock legitimately. The company is considered penny stock exempt because they have had millions of dollars and been in business over the last 3 to 5 years. Now, whether that's assets or revenues, it doesn't matter. They've had millions of dollars all that time. They've also kept up with their financials, all their filings. They've shown that they're responsible. So maybe they're underage, but they're acting like an adult. So we're not going to treat them like a child. We're going to treat them like an adult. They may be a penny stock, but they don't act like a penny stock. They're not risky. That's the bottom line. And that's what penny stock exempt means, not risky. Being a foreign company, they get certifications. They got to meet a lot of international laws. They covered that. All good there. Independent directors. Now, I don't know. Did this company just come from the QB up to the QX? Because normally you have independent directors listed here when you're going to uplist. Now, maybe they plan to uplist to the NASDAQ. I didn't see that, but that doesn't mean it's not somewhere in their filings. That's why it gets listed over here. So I may have missed that. So they tell us here Metaplan is Japan's first publicly traded company on a Bitcoin standard and Asia's only dedicated Bitcoin treasury company, focused exclusively on driving shareholder value through disciplined Bitcoin accumulation. Exclusively gathering Bitcoin. That's it. We're not doing any business. Okay. Metaplan employs Bitcoin per fully diluted share outstanding as its core performance metric. What does that mean? Well, let's just go to the financials first because I am excited about that. They're not exactly making revenues, right? They're not putting out a product. They're not doing a service. So people aren't paying them for doing something for them. They're not, but they're getting money in. I don't understand all of this stuff. I don't know if they're profits from the Bitcoins or transactions. I don't know, but they got money coming in. When you go through all of these numbers and say, what's all that mean? It's bobbled up and down. I don't know. Well, come on over to the balance sheet, which is where it gets real exciting. Cash and cash equivalents. Nothing crazy. We got 12 million in the bank, right? We got 3 zeros we got to put behind these numbers. Total assets, $1.6 billion. Total liabilities, $258 million, which means you and me, shareholders, we get 1.3, let's call it $1.4 billion in this penny stock. Folks, I know with bigger stocks, billions of dollars in stockholder equity is no big deal. But in penny stocks, it's a bloody big deal. We got $1.4 billion stockholder equity. That is our money. That's our profit. Now, what is it worth? Well, let's go see what the share structure is. We've got 472 million shares outstanding. Call that a $500 million just to make it easy. And we've got 1.6 billion. So we're actually over right now. That would be 3, right? That'd be closer to $3 a share instead of 4. But I'm just saying we've got value here. What we don't have is a service. I mean, I don't understand why anybody would want to invest in a company whose sole purpose is making money by buying something. It's like being an art collector, investing in an art studio. All they're doing is holding the paintings on the wall. That's it. Yeah, it probably is going to go up, but I got out of Bitcoin because Bitcoin is at 100,000. If it's going to double, it's got to go to 200,000. Well, in the next 5 years, 4 years, it could go to 400,000. It very well could. But I don't want to wait that long. So I took it all out and I put it into Ethereum. Ethereum has, was that like $2,900 when I bought it, and it's at 42 now. So, it went up like 40, 50% already since I got into it. And that's the way I feel with these companies. If they're into Bitcoin, how fast are they going to grow? I mean, Bitcoin's already up there. Do I got to wait 4 years for a big jump? Or is it just going to be steady growth over the years? It's not my thing. As a scalper, I just don't see this being my thing. Now, if it starts running, I don't care why it runs. If it starts running, I'll play it. I'll take gains off of it. But outside of that, personally, I don't like a company that's not doing anything. Let's see what the relative volume was around the company today. It was up 3 times, going from 4.4 million as a daily average over the last 30 days to 13.5 million roughly today. Looking at the, what have we missed here? Share structure we went through. No, we did not. Yeah, we did. Disclosures and then the news, right? Yeah. Disclosures, please. Okay, you don't want to give me disclosures? We'll go to news. All right. Looks like my computer is froze up on that page, so I will bring it up again. More than one way to skin a cat here. Won't even let me do that. MTPLF. Fine. MTPLF. Right. Disclosures. Semi-annual report. Did you hear? I don't know if you heard this. I just posted this just a couple of days ago. Trump, and Trump gets what he wants. Trump wants to do away with the quarterly reports on all public businesses. He only wants semi-annual and annual now. Every 6 months, let's do reporting. He says, one, as I was telling you, all of these financials, all of these filings, they're expensive. Cost a lot of money to hire an accountant and do all of this and get it all out there. And it stops the company from doing what they're doing, running a business, moving forward. So he wants to get rid of all quarterly reports. No more quarterlies, only every 6 months. How do you feel about that? I think it's good. I kind of like it. Not to mention, I think quarterly reports are a hassle. I honestly do, folks. I think it's like judging a president in his first 100 days for a full term. Quarterly reports are great to show you momentum, but I think the annual reports show you the bigger picture. And one day, well, you know, I got a couple videos out there you need to check out, folks. There are certain numbers. Cash flow is very important to check into. You want to make sure the company's moving the money, not piling it up somewhere. You want to see it coming back in after they put it out. That's very good to see. That's one of the things. All right, sideline there. My bad. All right, did we cover everything? We did, except the chart. Let's go look at the chart now for M. This is why I copy these, because I don't remember them. MTPLF. Get you back over there. And let's make this beefy and go back a year. All right, so we had an uptrend here for the first half of the year. Really got strong. We were at a low of $1.51 in March of this year. Went sideways off of that for a while. In May, we started to climb at $2.70 to $16. Holy cow, wonder what had that running. $2.70 to $16, back down to our 9-day MA. Sitting on that, jumping around a lot. We've got some big bounces, but she is sitting on the 9MA. Once she came under it, she started to fall and continued to fall, breaking through all of her MAs. And right now, she's still steady falling underneath every single MA, including the 9. Now, what I see here is our 200 right there. It just came into the picture. It was just a little snigger there. I couldn't even see it. Right there it is, folks. Now, the 200-day MA has the most data. Traders rely, they trust the 200-day MA. When it comes on the board, as I said, you will normally see the price gravitate to it. Doesn't matter if it's below or above, the price will normally go to it. Doesn't mean it'll stay there, but it normally goes there. Now, in a lot of cases, when the MA is above the price, that can end up being a catalyst because the new data is in. The reports just come out. There it is. So a lot of times you'll see the price move up to the 200 and continue with that momentum and start to ride up. So we are in a position now, just because of that 200, to watch it. Our oscillators are showing a lot of down pressure. Look at this ADX. Our red line, our downtrend, is up at the top. That's as strong as you can get. Our yellow line is at the top, as strong as you can get. That means our downtrend is very strong right now. And our uptrend is falling, meaning the chance of an uptrend is getting less and less. So right now, it doesn't look very strong. Coming on down to our 6-month, 4-hour view, pretty much the same thing we were just looking at with more bars. Taking a look at our 20-day 1 hour. Oh, that's a whole different picture. For the last 20 days, it has been nothing but downtrend with a high at $6.42, and we have never touched the 200-day MA all this time. Right now, we have just bounced off of a low today of $3.60. We've come up. We are fighting to get on top of the 9-day MA, but I don't see a whole lot of heat here, folks. All of our oscillators, except our MACD there. What's our MACD doing? All right, we do have some slight change going on down in the basements, right? We've got our green line up at the top, our red line underneath. We had a crossover right there. Right here, things started to change. We are now mounting the 9-day. Our MACD is climbing. It's way underneath our floor here, but it is pushing up. And that is one of my key signals before I enter into a trade. I want to come in just after a crossover on the MACD, because that's when the power shifts. That's when it goes to the climb side instead of the fall side. So right now, things are shifting on our 1-hour chart. 5-day, 15-minute. Well, we can see the shift occurring. Downtrend, bounce off of that low, got up on top of the 20, getting on top of the 50, struggling. Now we are in a 200 squeeze, are we not? We got the 200-day MA over our head. We got the 200 haul underneath. 200 Hall is like your 200-day MA. It's kind of like an EMA, but it doesn't lay in the same place as the 200 EMA. This is the 200 Hall, HULL. The 200 Hall takes into consideration current prices, so it's a lot closer to the price in most cases on the chart, but it acts like a friend because it relates to the price, it helps the price, and when the 200 Hall turns up and the price is over top of it, you normally get a push onto the price. And if it is sitting on top of the 50, underneath the 200, getting squeezed between both 200s, that price wants out of that spot fast. And it will normally go all the way to and through the 200. And you get a solid breakout. After the breakout, expect it to come back down and bounce around before it takes off again. But that's a good run right there. We are waiting for that to turn up. It'll turn up when it's blue on my chart. So right now, we are just now going flat. I expect this to turn up in the next few minutes, or it could be 15 minutes since we're on a 15-minute chart, and start to push up. This is looking good. Our oscillators are showing heat, but it's like lukewarm. Yeah, okay, it was warm, but it's not hot yet. Just looking at the after hours, stopped. No excitement after hours. We got just a little bit of buys here, nothing going on, but we are sitting on top of our 200, right? We broke out right here. We never touched it again. We went up, 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 up. Now, for the first time after breaking the 200, we finally came down. I always say you're not going to run far until you hit that 200 again in 98% of the time. So right now she's hitting it again, tapping it. All of our MAs are over her head, which are not great, but are they starting to turn up? Are they pushing up? Well, our 20 is starting to turn. Our 50 is iffy. Our 200 Hall, not great. What we are going to watch here is for a bounce. I do believe we're going to get a bounce off the 200, but coming back up to that 200 Hall is going to be the desperation. If it hits this 2 week, it could easily fall back down under the 200 MA. If it breaks out over it, we could see a very strong run. It's all going to depend on what happens between this 200 and that 200 on the 1 minute with volume. You guys still over here? You're awfully quiet. Mark, there you are. AGMG is climbing. Shout them out, folks. CDLX, climbing. Shout them out. WTF. Oh, no, that's what the boop, right? You get with was your tip jar, right? Yeah, I know. It ain't about the money with you guys. It's about sharing and caring. YouTube can go to, well, they're letting me on, so I'm not going to be too mean with them. They let me back on. I'm able to talk with you. This is a lot better than the other place I was at. Oops. Okay, do I have any other? I do. We got another stock lined up and ready to go here. Let's go look at APVO, folks. APVO. This is one we actually played today over. Are you froze again? We played this over at Penny Boys today. She came up. We had a lot of stocks come up. We always do. I'm surprised I can remember half of what I remember. So APVO, this was a community stock. It actually came from Belmore. We didn't have a lot of tickers coming in. So Belmore gave me a few. I looked them over and it's like, oh, APVO. Right. We did look at that one today. So we're going to talk about APVO because I know the chart was jumping. This is a cancer drug research and development company. They had a big jump in their daily volume today. Got a very small float, which is surprising with research and development biotechs. They normally got to keep putting shares on the market to keep money coming in to pay for all their research and development. They've got no revenues. They do have positive stockholder equity, though, even though they got no cash. And they just had a new investor come into the company, buying about 10% of the business. So let's take a look at APVO, Aptivo Therapeutics, based here in Washington, the United States. Finished today at almost $2 at $1.98. Jumped over 40%, jumping about 57 cents today. This is a hot penny stock on the NASDAQ. So they tell us that Aptivio Therapeutics is a clinical stage biotechnology company that focuses on developing cancer candidates for the treatment of various forms of cancer in the United States. The company's lead drug candidate, APVO 436, a biospecific T-cell engaging antibody candidate, is in its phase 1 clinical trial for acute myelogenous leukemia. Whew, that's all I'm reading. So they're dealing with cancer. They're dealing with leukemia. They've got their top drug in phase 1. Phase 1 is for safety. That takes 6 months, a year, maybe a little longer. Make sure nobody gets hurt by using the drug. Then you go into phase 2. How well does your drug do what you say it's going to do? That takes anywhere from 3 to 5 years. Then you go into phase 3. Phase 3 can take 3 to 8 years. This is putting your drug up against all the competitors. The more competitors, the longer it takes. But if you're dealing with unmet medical needs, you're finding drugs that nobody has anything out there for, you can get through this process a heck of a lot quicker. First off, you're going to get orphan designation, fast track designation from the FDA. Since there's nothing out there except suffering people, we want to help you get this drug through as fast as we can. We're not going to hold you up. Third, that phase 3 trial, since there's no competitors, doesn't take long to get through that. And then you get your drug on the market and you start making money. And if your drug's good for other cancers, then you bring it back in after it's already passed phase 1 and 2, and you can start putting in for the other indicators, as they call it, and start making money on other lines of cancers. So let's see what we've got going on. Taking a look at the relative volume for APVO. Something's going on. She jumped from about 4 million shares over the last 30 days as a daily average to 114 million shares today. Looking at our share structure, oh yeah, we've got about 3.2 million shares outstanding. I don't know what the float's going to be. You've got to subtract whatever the insiders own. That's what you and I are trading on the market. But I do know it's never higher than the outstanding share count, right? So we've got nothing higher than 3.2 million. So we've got a very low float. And they just did what today? 114 million in one day. And they've only got 3.2 million shares. Wow. They had to sell all of their shares over and over and over and over and over and over again today. That is incredible, folks. That starts to look like a short squeeze. Stock starts to do this because of supply and demand. And when people know there's a low float, they start asking more. They know people want their shares, and they just hold on to them as the price rises. Market cap for the company, we're at about 4.6 million. Financials for APVO, nothing the last 2 years. I don't know if this is their money or not. I always worry about that when I see it abruptly change. There could have been a changeover, a merger, something like that. All I do know is they've had nothing over the last 2 years. Quarterlies are blank too. What do we got in the bank? We got about 9.5 million in the bank, 15.5 million in assets, 9.1 million in liabilities. So we are holding stockholder equity in this company. It's not a bag. We got $6.5 million in this company. So let's see what's going on with APVO. We've got something highlighted. Something's going on, and it's current news. Pretty current. Top piece of news here is on the 16th, and the other piece of news came out on the 4th, both this month. Now, they got lots of news here about their drug as it's been progressing here. They had an $8 million offering. Really? Okay, so they made $8 million priced at market, so they got what they needed there. Aptivio Therapeutics and 60 Degrees Pharmaceuticals. I do believe that's a public company. Interviews on air. Just getting the word out there. That's what these companies do. Talk about their financials. Well, they got no money, but you like to know how much they're spending, how much they're paying themselves, how much everything costs, stuff like that. Aptivio highlights their Aptivio 442, which is a different drug, CD3 directed preclinical candidate for prostate cancer, whole different cancer. Then we get into the two pieces of news that have probably got the stock moving right now. Aptville unveils two next-generation industry-leading tri-specifics, expanding CD3 oncology pipeline to 5 molecules. I have no idea what that means, but it sure sounds good, sure sounds smart. I'm not going to dive into this one, but I am going to dive into this one. Whenever I see words like 100% remission, 100% cured, whenever I see multiple billions of dollars being mentioned in the headline, I figure this is probably a hot piece of news. Better pay attention to this piece of news. Whenever it's 100% of something, it's a big deal. So, Mipletmig delivers 100% remission rate in cohort 3 Rainer trial for AML, which is a leukemia. No dose limiting toxicities or cytokine release syndrome observed. You know, during COVID, we were having the lung problems. The lung problems weren't really coming from COVID. They were coming from us, cytokine responses. Our T cells were over-responding, and we were getting attacked by ourselves. And the T cells would cause us to swell up, and our organs would swell up, not allowing fluids to move around properly. So the organs would start shutting down, and we would die. And that's what was killing us, was the cytokine response. And that's what we've been working on. We have found a lot of diseases overreact our immune system, and we go into this overproduction of T cells. And they're saying they didn't have that problem whatsoever with theirs. The company today announced a 100% remission rate in the cohort 3 of its phase 1B, phase 2 Rainer trial. This is for patients with acute myeloid leukemia, unfit for intensive chemotherapy. So again, we're dealing with a drug that is for unmet medical needs. Nobody else has got anything like this. So we are expecting this to move fast, but we're way at the beginning. Phase 1, phase 2. So what happens with these research and development companies when they have big news come out and they've got years to go before the drug gets on the market, if it passes everything? It's just normally a jump, bump, and drop. Just up and down. People run and get all excited, and you see some huge runs on those days. But normally, and I mean the very next day, it is back down. Right back down to where it started, as if nothing even happened, and it just starts going back to what it was doing. So if you catch one of these stocks, and I will tell you this, most biotechs put their news out in the morning. You're looking at a guy that has been posting news in the morning every single day for over 2 years, maybe 3 years now. Pre-market news. It's all I do from 7:20 to 9 in the morning, and lots of it. I hate posting it because I hate reading it. Is biotechs, and they are the ones running first thing in the morning. These biotechs are hot. Take those gains pre-market, maybe after the bell, then get out. Then get out. Don't think they're going to keep running. Just take your gains and be happy. Biotechs have news every day. If you could get good at that, you could make money just on biotech news pre-market and have the rest of the day off. Oh, wouldn't that be nice? All right, so that's the news. We got any disclosures we can consider here? Right, we had a new investor. Form 13Gs, 13Ds. These are filed whenever a new investor comes in and buys a percentage of the company, so much that they themselves become an insider. And this one is 0.72 Asset Management. They bought themselves just about 300 million shares. I think that's what I'm looking at. And they got themselves just under 10%, just over 9%. That's the cutoff. 5%, 10%. When you cross these lines, you have different responsibilities, different pay. It gets different. So everybody likes to get right up to 10%, but not 10%. And that's where they stop, 9.1%. And this was just done here recently. Wrong button. That was done on the 17th. So that was yesterday. So you just had a new investor. You know they've done their due diligence. They've looked this company over, and they just bought 10% of this company. Somebody thinks this company has value. Then we've got an 8K here. This is another material change. Apto issued a press release. Right, we just got done reading that one. And the other one is also an 8K from the 4th of this month. another press release. And yeah, we read that one too. The 5 molecules. Big news, right? All right, so let's go take a look at APVO on the charts. Is it getting warm in here? Or is it just me? It's getting warm in here and it's just me. No one else in here, and I turned off the AC because it makes too much noise. So there's APVO. As you can see, I have supports and resistances drawn on it because we were playing it. We use these supports and resistances to let us know where to get in and where to get out. That's what those lines are there for. That's what these straight lines are always for, whatever color they are. They're all the same. I get in over top of one of these lines. Right here, it's at 215. I don't get in on the line because that's where the price bounces. See it bounce there? Boink. See it bounce? Boink. See it hit? Boink. Back down. I don't get in on the line. I get in over it. I get in maybe at 218, 220. I want to be over it. So I'm going to get in right there. And I'm going to get my stop loss underneath it. This is a speed bump, folks. When the stock finally breaks through and gets over it, it normally runs to the next speed bump, like we drive, right? We slow down before we hit the speed bump, go over it, and then speed up. So I get over it, and then I hope for the speed up to catch my buy and take me all the way up to there. I get out before the next speed bump because, one, it could hit and bounce fast, boop, come down real quick, and oh, shoot, I didn't have time to do anything. And a lot of times it may pull back before it even reaches it, you know? So I just get close to it. And our supports and resistances, if we're drawing them, may not be perfect, may not be exactly where they need to be. So let's give ourselves a little buffer room, right? Over top, underneath. So I get in over top, out underneath. And if the stock is really running, I'll sell part of what I have right here. And then another part underneath the next one up there. And I will climb the ladder selling chunks as I go up. So let's go all the way back to a year. What was this company doing a year ago? Not much. Although it's deceiving. We got a price here, a low of $1.32. We got bull. I say bull. That says $381, folks. I say bullpucky. No way. This has had a reverse stock split, maybe a couple of them. If they had a 1 in 20, every price on the board was multiplied by 20. So we'd have to divide the high bubble, every price, by 20. But if they had 2 reverse stock splits, a 20 and a 10, that is going to be 200. You got to multiply the 2 together, 20 times 10. Now you got to divide every number by 200. And if you've had multiple reverse stock splits like Mullen, which has changed its ticker and had another reverse stock split, you've got to divide their prices by millions. I'm not kidding, folks. Go look at their high price on it. I bet you. All right. I can't. I don't know. I don't remember what the ticker is. Last time I looked, it was $32 billion was the high one day for Mullen. Stupid, right? So she's been in a downtrend. We can agree on that. We know the chart itself hasn't changed. Only the numbers have changed. Let's come on down to something that looks normal. All right, there's a 4-hour. I'm still not trusting that number. That's $114 over top of 200. I'm not buying it. Nope. So she came back down, and I'm going to get rid of all these lines. We don't need. Oh, I forgot to put back my other lines. Stuck on it. Urgh. All right, so there's our lines gone. What I like here is we see some big spikes, right? Now, they're not very big in this retrospect, but you go down there and look. This is probably jumping, let me see, from $5 up to $15. That little itty-bitty spike right there was a 300% jump. So when she finally got close to the 200, we see excitement. She's trying to break out. But what happened? Why did it all peter out here? I don't know. It looked very good, looked very promising, and then just got lazy. And now we're starting to see some activity, but it's not real hot. It's just, hello, I'm here. So we had a big push right here. And this is what is really catching my attention. This is what I call a directional intentional spike. Now, I talked to you about this the other day. This is a bar that goes all the way to the 200, but does not break through it. That's the key point here, folks. This big bar, I don't care where it starts. When it pushes up, the solid bar does not go through the 200, but the wick goes to and through the 200 as far as it can freaking go. We want this puppy to go high because there's a string attached to the 200-day MA and that price. When it goes high, it tugs the 200 up, creating an opportunity for it to go level and the stock to break out. Once this does this and goes all the way up, I know it's going to come back down, but it cannot come down any lower than where it started. This did not. As far as I'm concerned, this is a 98% chance of a big rip, a strong run. So we had her come back down. She has bounced off the 200. This is what I'm looking for. Either land on the 50 or bounce off of that 200. Because when you hit that 200, you're in a 200 squeeze. You came down after the signal, after the indicator. You're going to launch to and through the 200. From one 200 to the next. You're going to go through every MA just like you see right there. This happens so often, folks. This is one of my favorite plays right there. Once I see that big bar, watch her come down. It may not be in an hour. It may not be in a day. We're on the 4-hour chart. You've got to work with that. But it's going to happen. And it did. And it launched hard to and through, back down to the 9-day, floating on the 9-day. Solid bar is on it. Wick underneath it. Not worried. Solid bar back over top. Looks like she's ready to go. All of our oscillators over top everything. Everything's pushing up, gentle, but climbing. All of our oscillators, our MAs are turned up. This chart looks sweet. This chart looks perfect to me. I would probably talk about this stock and make a video on it if I had found this. Let's take a look now at our 1 hour. Looking great. She was in a downtrend, had that big rip, came back down, bounced. This is all aftermarket. Look at this. Aftermarket, she took off. Pre-market, when people woke up, she started running again. And then all day today, she was falling. She came all the way back down to her 50-day MA, which is a heck of a lot better than where she started, way down here. So this is great. She's bouncing off of her 200 haul and the 50. Put them together. It's 250. That's strong. She's going to bounce on that. She hit it and she's bouncing. Right now, she's trying to get back on top of a rising 20. Your 20 MA, for the most part, is your steering wheel for the price. Where the 20 turns, the price is sure to follow. So keep that in mind. So right now, our bars are getting thick and chunky. On top of the 9, you can't climb till you're on the 9. On top of the 20, which is turned up, steering us up. Everything is pointed up. All of our oscillators right now are starting to turn up. Every single, I love it. Swoop, swoop, swoop. This is looking great, folks. APVO definitely needs to be on your watch list right now. Okay, we're done with that. And my voice is about shot. How y'all doing over here? OPTT. Hello, Travis. OPTT. You know, this is one, it's kind of strange. I really like OPTT. This is a company that makes a powered buoy, and they power it by solar power. They power it by wind. They power it by waves. They power it, and it's out there all by itself, holding all this power. For what? First off, communication. Connects to satellites, Wi-Fi, ships, land, submarines, planes, connects to all of them. Has these autonomous boats that run off of the buoy. Nobody drives them. They go and do whatever they want, maybe with guns as parameter security, maybe doing geological surface scientific studies. When they run out of power, they come back to the buoy, plug themselves in with the AI they've got used now, and they power themselves up and go back to it. They give reports to land what's going on out here. And they're being used by a lot of countries for a lot of different sectors. But security is one of the big ones right now. And I don't know of any other company doing this. The world is covered in 2/3 water, which is a lot of shoreline to cover. I think this company is going to be big, and I don't own any of it yet. I keep telling everybody I love this company. I think it's great for a long hold. I think it's going to take off one day, but I still don't own any. But I really, really do like the company. Can you take a look at ABVE, above food ingredients? What time is it? Oh, 5:30. Actually, I would love to, but I'm thinking my voice isn't going to make it the way I've been pushing on it. And we are at about the time I think most of you want to get out of here. An hour and a half. We're pushing Titanic time now, right? And I'm no Leonardo DiCaprio, that's for sure. So I appreciate your time, folks. I loved having you guys come in here, talking to each other, sharing stocks with each other. I hope you're listening to me as well. I hope I'm sharing something that is helping you. I know we didn't get as many stocks under our belt today as we would like to get. I talk a lot. I hope I'm sharing things of interest with you. You don't have to pay for it, so it isn't costing you anything. I've been watching B-Sig bleed like crazy since the reverse split. No kidding, right? I got into that, and they did the reverse split like 2 days later. Really, really irked me off, and I'm down now. Yeah, that's like my 93rd reverse stock split, and I have lost over $40,000 on reverse stock splits. If you are down on a stock when it does a reverse stock split, you are having your losses compounded. If you're down 10 cents on your stock and they do a 1 in 10 reverse stock split, you're now down $1. $1. So if you're down 50 cents, imagine what 200%, 200 reverse stock split can do. 200 times 50. I've got stocks that cost me now, my average price is $105 for the stock, and the stock is going for $1.19. The only way to get my money back is to pour more money in. And with 91 reverse stock splits, I won't do it until they start running. When they start running, then I'll buy my way out. You know, if I got $1,000 into it and I'm at $900 down, I may have to put $400 into it to bring the price so close down to where we're at that I have a likelihood of getting the heck out. It's a horrible thing to do. But this is what happens when you learn how to trade without any knowledge. And that's what I did. That's what most of us do, right? We jump into trading without knowing anything and lose a lot of money. Folks, come on over to Penny Boys. Have you ever had a coach? We got coaches, $40 a month. Think about that. $40. Don't you lose more than that in most of your trades, right? $40 a month, you'll have an expert who can teach you what you want to learn, not what he wants to teach you, what you want to learn. He'll help you, and you'll know you're getting help from a professional because they will show you their profit and loss statements. They're not going to show you what they did it for a week. They're going to show you a year, show you what I've been doing. Get yourself a coach. Get the fundamentals down pat. Quit losing money, folks, by guessing, by learning. The School of Hard Knocks will break you, folks. I've spent over $100,000 in the School of Hard Knocks, and I'm still learning the hard way. Old habits don't die easy. But if you take heed, take lesson, get a coach for $40 a month, see if things change for you, folks. I only want to see you get rich. I do. I would love to see you get rich. I'd love to see me get rich too. All right, folks, that's it. I'm out of here. We'll talk to you next week. Thursdays, every Thursday, unless it's a holiday, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'll be here. I'll put out a notice early. Get your tickers in early, folks. I can get the due diligence done. And if we do it quick enough, I can have 5 to 6 stocks a video. Don't hold me to it. All right, we'll catch you later. Home Alone. Home Alone. Oh, I didn't do it. Now